What up, Raider Nation? It's the Raider D here on the Raider D podcast, and I want to know, do I have your permission to be direct with you? Today I want to talk about a quarterback of old as well as a quarterback of the future in one Cam Miller, a guy that is turning heads at the rookie mini camp, but I want to discuss Derek Carr. I know this is a very contentious issue with the Raider Nation. There are half of the nation that love Derek Carr, and there's half of the nation that absolutely despise him. I don't understand that half of the Raider Nation and how you could despise a guy who played his butt off for the Raiders. Now listen, we never won with him. We never won a single playoff game with him. And he only played in one playoff game. The one that he should have played in, he broke his leg. No fault of his own. But I want to be direct about this situation right now because I've been reading in the comments a ton of hatred towards the individual Derek Carr. And I don't get it. I want you to explain, if you're on that half of the Raider Nation where you absolutely hate and despise Derek Carr, I want you to drop a comment down below and I want you to explain to me, help me to understand your point of view, because I'm at a loss and I do not get it. But there is one thing that I do get, and that is Box House, a proud sponsor of the Raider D podcast, and we're going to get into them more here in just a bit. But Derek Carr just announced his retirement from the NFL. He's done. He's had some personal trauma going on in his family with his wife having a miscarriage. Our hearts go out to her and him and the entire family. Also, he has an issue with his shoulder. And so he's finally decided just to hang it up because he's tired of all the drama. Man, this guy went through like a half a dozen coaches in his career. He's gone through probably 8 or 9 offensive coordinators. It's always been turnover and turmoil and change in his life since coming from Fresno State to the Las Vegas, or back then the Oakland Raiders. And so he's finally decided to hang it up. And I want to know, should Derek Carr be allowed to come back, unretire for a day, and retire again as a Las Vegas Raider? Retire in the silver and black. And I want to be direct about this. This is my opinion. I think absolutely he should be. I think the way that the Raiders organization treated him and his family was absolute garbage. It was bonanza. It was bonkers. It made no sense. That's not the Raider way. That's not the culture that Al Davis had set up with the Raiders. And that's not to say that Al Davis never cut players. He did it all the time. Whatever would make the Raiders better, he was all for it. But when Al Davis cuts you, and I've talked to ex-Raiders players and had them on the show, and they have all said the same dang thing, that when Al Davis cuts you, you felt good about it when you left. Because he always lets you know, you're family. You once a Raider, always a Raider. And you're always welcome to come back and retire as a Raider. And he did that with so many players. I think Mark Davis needs to do the same in this situation. Because in the modern era of the Las Vegas Raiders, there has not been a player as contentious and divisive, not through any fault of his own, but just due to our own empathy towards this man, as Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr needs to come back as a Raider for one day and retire. I'm not saying bring him back to, compete with Geno Smith. That ship has sailed. He's retired. He's done with football. And listen, I think he's going to go into TV just like his brother. And I think he's going to be pretty darn good at it because he is a good speaker. Maybe he'll be better at that than being a quarterback. Who knows? But as a quarterback, he was not that bad. I do not understand how people always think he was that bad. I'm not saying that he was great. He's definitely not one of the greatest quarterbacks the Raiders have ever had. But he has stats. Stats never got us the victories and the playoff wins in the Super Bowl. And I think that that's the big crux of the problem, why so many people dislike him. So tell me down in the comments how you guys feel about that. Now I want to talk about Cam Miller. But before I talk about Cam Miller, guys, if you need an ADU or if you're looking for a tiny home, you got a piece of property, you don't want no muss, no fuss, you just want a house shipped to you, you could get a ADU or a tiny home for as low as $39,000. That's an insane value. You guys don't want to miss out on this. My friends over at Box House, Kevin Ross, he is the man and a big-time supporter of the Raider D podcast right here, Silver and Black Nation. Go and check them out and tell them Raider D sent you. Now listen, Cam Miller is one of these kids that the Raiders picked up from North Dakota State. None of us were watching him. None of us were making videos about him. He was not on the radar. But Tom Brady did not step in and step up for Shedeur Sanders. And now he's distancing himself, saying, well, I had nothing to do with the draft. But then John Spytek accidentally throws him under the bus by saying that Cam Miller was basically Tom Brady's calling in saying, draft Cam Miller. He really likes him. He thinks he's got huge upside and potential. And so now you have this young quarterback at the rookie mini training camp, and he has been absolutely turning heads. Now, all the focus right now is on Ashton Jeanty because Ashton Jeanty is the number 6 overall pick. However, Cam Miller has been lighting it up with his arm, with his athleticism, showing how quickly he can learn plays. He has absolutely garnered the attention of several reporters as well as the coaches and his teammates. And I know it's early, but if Cam Miller has the approval of a guy like Tom Brady, and Cam Miller has the athleticism that an Aiden O'Connell does not have, if he can progress on a couple of his negatives, and I'm going to go over those right now, I think that Cam Miller could be, in 2 to 3 years, the eventual replacement for Geno Smith. It's going to be an interesting battle for that QB2 situation right now, and I think I'm going to predict that Cam Miller is going to be QB3. I don't think he's going to beat out Aiden O'Connell. He's just been there. He has too much familiarity with the rest of the team. I think he beats him out this year, but if Cam Miller continues to impress in the offseason, he could be QB2 next year and the year after, eventually becoming QB1. But there are a couple of things that Cam Miller needs to improve on. Number one thing that Cam Miller needs to do is he needs to improve in his anticipation throws. Too often he waits for the wide receiver to come open before he throws the ball, and that allows defenses to respond. You got to, especially at the next level in the NFL, you have to be able to throw a receiver open. Throw with anticipation. It's a very coachable thing. It is a thing with practice that he could absolutely get good at, especially when you got the likes of a Brock Bowers to throw the ball to, a Jack Besh, Jacoby Myers. Right, we got some studs as wide receivers for him to really hone that ability for himself. Now, the next thing that he needs to do is get better at reading defenses, because this is one situation where he struggles. Because he struggles, he has to extend the play. And this is what one of the great things about him is he's really good at extending the play. But he has to extend the play because he didn't read the defense soon enough. He didn't throw with anticipation, and therefore he had to run out of the pocket and extend the play, which, you know, in college has worked, especially at North Dakota State. Won 2 FCS national championships. It's not FBS, but still in his division, that's the top dog. And so if he can fix these two things, which are both coachable, Cam Miller, with his athleticism, his arm, he's got great touch on all 3 levels of the ball. He could be a franchise quarterback. Drop a comment down below and let me know, what do you think of Cam Miller, and do you think he is a prospect worth giving attention to?